gonna do two different oolong teas from the flight pack. So one is Rising Dawn, and the other one is Yellow Rose Rock Oolong.
Yeah, we're brewing two oolong teas from Fujian. One that we call Rising Dawn, which is actually the Baya Qilan varietal. Yeah, and that's the southern Fujian style. And the other one is Yellow Rose, which is a northern Fujian rock tea. And it's a newer type of rock tea, and we'll go into that in a little bit more detail once we brew that one.
So the first one, the Rising Dawn, is very similar with the Tie Guanyin Iron Goddess. If you ever try Iron Goddess, this is a very similar style. Or the Taiwanese Oolong tea as well. They all roll into very little and very tight tea balls. You can warm up your vessel, warm up your gaiwan a little bit, just give it a little hit, and then you put your tea leaves in and just give it a little shake, and then you can actually smell you can enjoy the dry leaves aroma a bit better. I think it's a bit nutty with this one.
Yeah, you can smell some of those roasted notes coming out. But it also has a kind of floral aroma as well. So it's a nice combination of roasted notes and floral notes.
So I'm just doing the rinse. So we just do give it a very quick rinse to sort of give it open up the tea leaves a bit more because it's quite tightly rolled. Okay.
But the idea behind that first rinse, especially with these tightly rolled oolongs, is that we kind of start that unfurling process, so that the next infusion it's going to have a bit more flavor coming out of it. It's one of the more forgiving types of teas. I wouldn't say it's hard to overbrew, but even if you overbrew it or you steeped it for too long, it's not you don't get a really strong bitterness or anything. So it's still quite drinkable even if you accidentally overbrew it. Yeah. Cheers, everyone.
Yeah. Cheers.
I'm actually drinking your Spring Meadow.
Oh, the Spring Meadow. It's actually very similar. Actually,
it's actually from the same leaves.
It was quite similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just had that open, so I thought I might as well use that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
The Spring Meadow is it's actually using the same leaves.
Exactly same leaves.
Same leaves.
They harvest the same time and same leaves. Yeah.
Yes. But processed just a little bit differently.
Yeah. So the Spring Meadow will be lighter and greener than the Rising Dawn.
Yeah. In terms of oolong tea scales, it's on the greener side as opposed to
it's on the greener side. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's not a dark one,
pal. No, complete opposite end of that one.
Yeah.
I drink tea throughout the day. If you have a tea that you can use, say, 15 times, how long can you leave it in between washes before you go, it's starting to get stale, or because I don't want to waste this beautiful tea.
Yeah.
So what would be your general rule of thumb of it's time to let it go? Yeah.
So normally in general, I wouldn't use any sort of keep steeping any tea leaves beyond around 24 hours. So I mean, when I say for example with icebreaker and with raw pu'ers in general, you can get a lot of infusions out of them. If you're steeping it throughout the day, it's one of the teas that can kind of last from morning to late afternoon, depending on how often you're steeping. So that's usually fine. If it's within a day, from morning to afternoon, it's usually okay. I normally, but then by the next day, I wouldn't be re-steeping that anymore. I'd throw that out and then I get a new batch. Yeah, if Dawn drinks any oolong teas or pu'er teas after 6 or so, or 5, after 6, she's at night she's buzzing.
Yeah.
So
during our tea trip, tea sourcing trip, I was awake every night.
Yeah, because sometimes they we had dinner and then we go back to the tea, their tea farm, and we'd be drinking tea at midnight. Past midnight as well, and I'm not too bad, but yeah, Dawn's just
might as well just stay awake until 5 a.m. next morning, and then we have to get up and see the next process. So might as well just stay awake.
Yeah.
So the other day I had a tiguanin that was that had been traditionally roasted, And I heard that that's a technique that is kind of harder to find. So I was just curious if that's something you've come across much, your kind of exploration of Tiguanins and kind of, how you find the two different, whether as in like roasted and not roasted Tiguanins.
We asked a couple of like farmers and sort of other tea merchants about this whole traditional and non-traditional Te Guan Yin, and what's considered traditional is potentially like it's lost, like potentially in the whole in this whole, I guess, the whole history of Te Guan Yin.
It's really hard to say what is exactly traditional nowadays.
And I guess another producer, the way he put it, it's like it's not necessarily traditional or non-traditional. It's more like what does the general population prefer? If for some reason there's like a big swing back to the more heavier baked, I guess what people now call like the traditional version, then producers will start leaning more towards that and less towards the greener side. But then if there's a swing towards that, then they kind of in a way follow basically what the market dictates. If more people are asking for greener types, then they'll produce that. If more people are asking for heavier, like stronger bakes, then they'll produce that.
So the next one, yellow rose rock tea. We are gonna brew in the little Yixing teapot if you have one. If you don't, then that's fine. Just brew whatever vessel you have. So you can have a look at the colors different. So this is the first one that we brew, the Rising Dawn.
Southern Fujian.
Southern Fujian, and this is the yellow rose, the rock oolong. So they are two very different styles. So one is a lighter one is definitely like much stronger. But the yellow rose that we have, the rock oolong we have, is already like lighter.
The lighter side of the stronger oolongs.
Yeah.
Think about rock teas, like rock oolongs from Fujian. You're thinking things like Ro Gui, Dang Pao, and a whole bunch of others. Like those are the more traditional ones. This one's actually quite a new type of cultivar. That's kind of a hybrid of like a whole bunch of different other teas. So how does it start? It started with golden osmanthus and an iron goddess, and they cultivated the two together to get a golden goddess.
A yellow goddess.
Yellow goddess, sorry.
Huang Guan Yi.
Yeah. Even I get confused with this. So yeah, they cultivated those two together. They kind of fused them together to get the yellow goddess cultivar, and then they take the yellow goddess with golden osmanthus again and cultivate those two together to get yellow rose. Now all of those cultivars are traditionally originally a Southern Fujian cultivar. So they take this new cultivar, this new yellow rose cultivar, and then plant it and continue to cultivate it in Northern Fujian, in Wuyixian region. And so that's why you get like some of those more minerally and rocky notes that you normally associate with a rock oolong, with a rock tea, but not as strong as like what a traditional one would be. It's got the sort of some of the more floral notes of a Southern Fujian oolong, but with the mineral rocky notes of a Northern Fujian rock tea.
Yeah.
So how come we decided to do clay for this one?
So rock tea really have like the strength, the mineral characteristic compared to other types of oolong tea. So other oolong tea is more aromatic.
Yep.
So it's actually good to brew into a gaiwan, a porcelain teaware. In that way, you can really appreciate the aroma of the tea. So while it's the raw oolong, it's not as aromatic as the other types of oolong tea, but we really want to appreciate the strength of the tea, of the raw oolong. That's why a lot of people, when they brew the raw oolong, they would choose the clay pot to really boost the strength out of the rock tea.
Yeah. We also find that when we're introducing rock teas to people, especially for those who haven't really tried this type of tea before, it's a bit of an acquired taste, and not everyone sort of enjoys or can appreciate that sort of minerally rocky flavor. And we have found out that if someone has never tried rock tea before and they're not sure what to expect, when they try it, they kind of it's a bit of a, I mean, for some it's a bit of a strange kind of, or like a flavor that they don't associate with tea. But we'll find with the yellow rose, it's a good one. It's a good introduction to it because it's a little bit light on that mineral rocky flavor. And then we'll find that if they like this one, we then introduce some of the more traditional rock tea styles to them, and then it gets a little bit, then they can understand and appreciate that a little bit more.
Finished our second virtual tea meetup on Zoom and also Instagram Live as well. Yeah, it was great. It's really fun.
It's kind of fun. I mean, with the purpose of these sort of virtual tea meetups is not just for us to connect to other tea lovers out there, but also for other tea lovers who may or may not know each other to just basically come together and be able to hang out and chat over tea. So yeah, that was fun. We're going to be doing it again. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying sane. More importantly, let's stay connected.
Yeah.
All right.
Hope to see you soon.
See you guys
Bye.
next time.